What's going on, everyone? So Victor Wembanyama as well as Chet Holmgren are two incredible talents, two sort of unicorn level players in their own right. Both over 7 feet, both can handle the basketball, both can be 3-level scorers, both have literal superstar, arguably already are star level talents. Both of these guys are going to be pitted against each other for a very long time in the NBA. You have the Oklahoma City Thunder, who have already emerged and have championship aspirations this season and very well could win the NBA Finals this year. And I don't think anyone would be shocked or surprised. They are a very good basketball team. Then you have the San Antonio Spurs, Victor Wembanyama coming into his second full season as well as Chet. Right? Chet, got to remember, his first full season he actually missed. So last year was technically his first season. So you have these two guys going head-to-head. You have these two guys that are going to be pitted against each other for a very long time. Really excited for this sort of rivalry, right? Again, Spurs, right now, I really like the moves that they made, but they are likely a couple years away from really being in contention. And I hope it's not one of those things where, like, by the time the Spurs get into contention, the Thunder aren't anymore, and it's just like, I want to see a point where both of these teams, both the Spurs and the Thunder, are great, and you have that good old classic rivalry battle. Because again, this is something that it's going to be a storyline and a headline for a very long time, and you're already seeing it. Right? You're already seeing, I mean, even in the Rookie of the Year race, and just the media in general and everybody really kind of trying to pit these two against each other. And Chet Holmgren came out recently and basically said, like, hey, there's no animosity, like they're good, right? Basically squashing that there's any type of beef between the two of them, right? That, they respect each other, things are great. It's just the competitive nature, which is fine, right? And look, not every rivalry, not every head-to-head hate each other, especially in today's NBA. Like, all these guys grew up together. I know, like, Victor and Chet didn't, but, it's not how it used to be, where, like, players genuinely hated each other. And, like, if they ran into each other in a dark alley, it was a brawl, right? Like, today's NBA, guys are friendly, they're friends. Like, it's different, right? It's just a different league in a different world. That doesn't mean these guys aren't competitive. It doesn't mean they don't want to go after each other and take each other's heads off. Of course they absolutely do, right? But it's also what media and just storylines for the NBA, and it's how the NBA has always had its success. Right? I mean, going back to, Russell and Wilt, right? To, Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain, and, to Magic and Bird, and, you even have, like, LeBron and Jordan in those debates. You have, LeBron and Kobe. You have, Shaq and Kobe even pitting against each other at points, right? Like, they always want to find those two villains, right? LeBron and Steph. And, LeBron and Steph, like, love each other. I mean, there's a lot of talk now about them potentially teaming up, right? So, it's just, but that's what keeps the narrative going. That's what keeps the excitement, right? That's what creates the buzz and the hype of, oh, the Thunder play the Spurs today, let's go. And then it just draws the eyeballs and attention. But I also think that that's good, right? Obviously within reason. You don't want it to, like, there have been times, like the Shaq and Kobe thing where that got, like, really personal and really ugly, right? You don't want it to get to that point. But good friendly rivalry, good friendly competition, media comparing these two and, who's better, who's this, who's that. Right, like, that is just good for just the narrative and the conversation, the hype of the NBA and just, viewership and all of that. Because, again, both of these guys are incredibly talented players. Both of these guys are guys that could potentially be the face of the league, right? I think Victor definitely will be. Chet, I do think he'll be all-star level, superstar level talent, right? Both of these guys are absolutely incredible. But it's also the similarities in just style of play and age and all of that, right? Look at Victor Wembanyama, right? 20 years old, 7'4", gave you 21 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, can stretch the floor, knock down the three, right? Make plays, do a little bit of everything, right? He's a guy that can do a little bit of everything. And then you look at, like, Chet Holmgren, 22 years old, gave you 16.5 points per game, 8 rebounds, 2.4 assists. Again, his ability to stretch the floor, his ability to make plays, his ability to do everything. 7-1, right? Obviously, he is the second option compared to the Spurs, where Victor is the one option. He's the best player, right? OKC has SGA, although Chet very likely could evolve into being the best player, right? We'll see, right? What does Wemby look like last year if SGA is on, if, you swap these two? Does Chet have, a 22 point a game season? Like, does he uptick his total? Or does he kind of have similar things? But, both these guys are just long, lengthy, the modern center, power forward center type guys, those hybrid guys that can play multiple positions, play out on the perimeter, can play around the rim, right? So these two guys going to be comparable, right? It's not one of those things where it's like Chet is, 6'2", 6'3", and Victor's 7'4", or, say Chet is 6'4", right? No, they both are big men, right? I mean, you look at, Hakeem and Shaq, right? Like, you got Duncan, right? You got all these legendary big men that's what they do. Who's the best center? Who's the best big man? You look at Jokic and Embiid right now, right? That's a big talking point. That's a big narrative point. That's something that, again, drives the narrative. Like, we're all excited. We can't wait for the Sixers to play Denver. Can't wait for Jokic and Embiid to battle it out. Right? Like, these are the kind of narratives and these are the kind of stories that really drive the NBA. And the NBA, more than any sport, is a, individual, high prolific type sport. Right? And it's one of the few sports where one guy makes such a huge difference. Right? Like, like you look at a guy like a Steph or LeBron or something, you put them on any team, they're immediately better. Right? Like, it's just, there's very few, like, you look at football, it's like outside of the quarterback position, there's not really many positions where, like, if you put somebody on the roster, right, a high-end player, all of a sudden they win, instead of winning 4 games, they win 12, right? Like, yeah, you get a guy or two, maybe you win, 6, but, I mean, you get the right player and the right team in the right situation, right? Like, prime LeBron, you could slot him anywhere. And, you're at least a playoff team. You're winning probably 50 games, right? I mean, look at some of those Cavs teams, right? So, again, it's just, it's the individuality is so important in the NBA, right? It's why these players make so much money and get so many brand deals and shoe deals and all this other stuff that you don't really get to do with a lot of these other sports, right? Not to the level in which the NBA has, right? Obviously, like soccer, like some of these soccer players are big. Like, you think, even LeBron, you think LeBron's big. Go see like Messi or Ronaldo or some of these guys, and they're just like massive. But nonetheless, like, it is the NBA. It's a global sport, so it's great because you got Chet, who is this like homegrown guy. You got Victor, who's foreign overseas type guy. You got these two guys that are really going to be pitted against each other for their entire careers, right? I mean, for the next hopefully 15, 20 years, right? Hopefully these two have very long careers and just excellent battles. And they both play in the same conference, which is even better because we get to see them, battle it out 4 times a year and then end up meeting each other in the playoffs and we don't have to wait for the finals, right? Like, we all wanted to see LeBron versus Kobe, and it never happened. It almost did, but it never happened. And it's just like, man, like, I would have loved that finals as a basketball fan, right? So, there's a lot of those that, like, man, what would happen if they were in the same conference? What would that look like if they were on the same team, right? Like, what if Kobe did go to Chicago at some point, right? And just have those battles with LeBron. Well, now we get to live through this. Now we get to see Victor Wembanyama and Chet Holmgren battling it out, duking it out 4 times a year and in the postseason and, all that jazz. So I'm very excited for the future of these guys. I'm very excited for just the storylines and narratives. Again, obviously, I don't think that these guys hate each other. I don't think that there's this, you're always going to try to get this narrative. Somebody says something in the media or to the media that, gets misconstrued or whatever. It just, we always want to kind of find that negative talking point. We always want to try to make two people out as they hate each other, because it just makes for better rivalry. But, you know, at the end of the day, I think that these two people have a lot of respect for each other. And I think that they're going to have some awesome, epic battles. And I cannot wait. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you like that the narrative is kind of around these guys that, you know, they're battling it out, they're duking it out, they don't like each other? Do you think, like, nah, it's silly? You know, are you excited for the future of these two? Are you glad that they're both in the Western Conference? Like I said, I just hope that they're both good at the same time, or their teams are both good at the same time. You know, right now, obviously, OKC is one of, if not the best teams in the West, where the Spurs are, you know, they're on the rise. They're coming on up. I just hope that I hope that by the time the Spurs get to the top, OKC isn't, like, back at the bottom and they're terrible, right? So we'll see how it all plays out. But anyway, again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Helps me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.